And just like that, we are live once again. And thank you all for tuning in to this live stream. We're going to talk a little bit about that latest rumor that just popped up about HHN. Since we talked about the map last live stream, definitely go check that out. We talked well over like 2.5 hours. And
Yeah.
I am joined once again by friend of the channel, Dreamport Productions. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me back. Just can't get rid of me. I just live here, live in the live stream now.
Thank you. Thank you for coming back on and giving us some of your knowledge, some of your some insight. Hello, Emily. Emily pops in. Hello.
How's it going, Emily?
Hey, there we go. Eddie's in. Good evening,
Hello,
gents.
Eddie.
And if you guys live near Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, or Kings Dominion up in the Washington area, definitely check out Eddie's channel. He covers both parks and he's pretty much at them all the time. So if you live in that area, definitely check out his channel.
For sure.
Now, do you want actual food for thought? Like food? Like speculation? Or are we talking like...
What are the menus going to be like this year?
Yeah. Now, will Taste of Fear come back?
I wonder, because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if it does come back, I feel like they would enhance it. Like, I feel like just mix it with character dining. I don't like just kind of mix the concepts and elevate it, because then it would make it feel a little more worth it to pay the whatever the exuberant price, even for the non-alcoholic, when they unveiled the non-alcoholic, which was still like $80.
Yeah, I felt like, I know we're getting off topic here. That was like an initial idea they had, and then it felt like, oh, people are not buying this, and then they were like non-alcoholic, but it also felt like it was thrown out of nowhere and not like advertised early. Or at least I don't remember it being really advertised too early for people to like make plans to go, because I really wanted to do it just because it was, you know, a HHN event and see how it was. But I looked at that price and I was like, no way.
No, it was literally like, I think it was the day or the day before they did the all the drop at the end of July. So it was really only like a month and change before the event started. So it really wasn't like they set it up to be like this thing. And I feel like if they bring it back, for sure, they would have to set it up. Also, the buffet.
Eddie's
yes.
right on the money right here. Yeah, they need the buffet like Not Scary Farm has, which we were really impressed. Not so much with the food, not so much with the entertainment, but we were impressed with like the overall operation of it, and the fact that we got out of it, got to go through like this little mini sort of scare zone that's not really official scare zone. I did a video on the channel, so check it out. But and then we did like the back 3 houses with like little to no wait. So excellent. So they definitely need that.
That's cool. It's almost like a little bit like kind of the same kind of like a stay and screen perk where you're like you're there, so it's like you can just kind of hit it at a convenience.
Yeah, think of it almost like if they did character dining, let's say maybe like in that back soundstage, soundstage 33?
Yeah.
So if they did something like that, character dining type of thing, and then maybe you got like straight access to like 2 of the soundstage houses or something, that would be kind of beneficial. I could see them doing something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think just adding more perks like that to make it a little more worth it, even if it's like obviously I know it's Universal, they're going to charge more, but like just like giving it, because all it was this idea of like, I think it was made, they were trying to make it for us, right? For the content people who are like, we have to go try the food first. But then it's like, okay, only a few people are going to do that. And for me, I'm like, I like the food at Horror Nights, but like looking at the list of food they had, comparing it to what I tried at the event, I looked at it and was like, it's all right. It's not something I would pay that much money for. But I mean, it's a cool concept. I hope they, like I said, mix it, mold it, change it. I think having a dining option is any kind of dining option, whether it's character dining or this or a mixture, is a good thing to have, especially with how popular the event's becoming.
Oh yeah, they would definitely push the fact that like, oh, you get to wait out of the sun and eat and do like 2 houses. People will guarantee sell that thing out. And Soundstage 33 is pretty big, so they can do like a taste of buffet, kind of like an all you can eat type of smaller samples of some of the food.
Yeah, I mean, people already do like, they already kind of do Richter Stain Scream for that reason, because it's like you can sit down inside, you don't really have to worry about like going and standing in the heat for an hour or whatever, hour and a half. So,
yep. Oh, you didn't try the burger? Oh, which burger? The Mel's burger, the peanut butter one. That was good.
I can't eat peanuts, so.
Oh, that's right. Oh man. Oh,
that was the thing. Last year they had so much peanut stuff, and I was like that, and I think that was like a good chunk of the Taste of Terror. So that was also my thing. Was like, okay, half of the stuff is like it's the Yuri's favorite, and I want to say they had another peanut butter thing, and one of the drinks was like, and I was like, okay, well, it's cool.
Yeah, because peanut butter and peanuts, I guess, go together with Stranger Things and the circus, I guess.
Traveling that's circus. True. That's true.
Oh yeah, it was good. Me and Losh, I think, tried it at the same time. Matter of fact, that closing weekend, I was finally going around and actually trying whatever food was left.
That's smart. I think I will reverse that and do it like maybe opening weekend, the days that like not opening night, maybe the Saturday or the Sunday, like kind of just doing it like here's a couple, like, and not everything. I mean, that's kind of how I did it. Was I waited until probably mid-season to start trying stuff. Like I realized halfway through, I'm like, I haven't tried barely anything. And then I just went, usually it was whatever was in Stain Scream in New York, which for people in the chat who don't know, if you're not trying to go to maybe the super most high demand house, whatever's in Stain Scream, you can get in some of those food lines and there's no one there. And I mean, there would be times where I would do that, and then the Dueling Dragons line would still be short. So I was like, okay, well, I can still kind of have both and try some of the food without having to wait in the crazy lines you would get at 8-9 p.m. So that's a tip that I like to employ.
And just a little plug here. I did give Aiden some ideas for maybe a future video he's working on. So that might be in line with this comment. So
sure.
Yeah. Stay tuned to Dreamport's channel. If you've never been over there, go ahead and check it out. You love Horror Nights. Why not?
A lot of things you didn't get to try.
Yeah, it was a lot of things I didn't get to try. I'm kicking myself for not getting The Last of Us. Was it the ravioli?
Yeah, in the can.
Yeah, I was kicking myself for not getting that.
Yeah, me too. I didn't get it. I waited too long to get it, and by the time I planned on getting it, they were sold out of the can. So I'm like, well, I'm not buying this if I can't get the can. I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's what I'd be buying it for.
Yes, that was I tried that quite a few times. The funny thing with the food is there's so much food that you don't get to try everything, but then you have friends that try something and they'll pass it on, just like you passed along to me about the Stranger Things sandwich, the Hellfire Club, right?
Yeah, that was my most hyped item, but I know Derek had a comment about the poutine. That was my favorite item. The poutine was my favorite thing. It was the only thing I did get more than once, and I got it. I got it before, and then I got it on closing night. And that was, like I said, the only, because I felt like it was for the price. It was one of those things where the price, the taste, and the amount was all worth it. because sometimes you get something, and the Hellfire Club was like that too, where it was like I felt like they gave you a good amount for how much it cost.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, and Mardi Gras is the same way. You get something and you're like, am I paying this much for like a tiny little portion? So, but that's how I usually judge it. But yeah,
See, we gave you food for thought.
there you go.
About food.
People love the food. What can you say? People love the food.
Jay.
Not this live stream.
Yeah,
Not this live stream.
What are you talking about? Get that comment off.
Just kidding. I can see where someone might walk away disappointed. For me, my first time, I didn't really like it that much. I'm going to be honest with you.
I liked the first time you went through?
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it. It wasn't until much later that I actually grew to enjoy the house as much as I did.
Yeah, it's not a house for everybody. That's clear as day. So yeah, the apple fries were crazy. I don't know if like just because I got it when I got it, they messed up like the portion size. That thing was like so full. I was passing it to everybody.
And then
I don't want this.
Y'all made the mistake, because I think Losh got one too, and they made the mistake of getting two. That was the problem.
We shared it with TLEV Media, California friends of the channel. We're like, here, just take some of it, man. Yeah, the walking taco. I got to try that. Like, it was so funny. I did put in one of the videos later on, but I was sitting up there eating the walking taco and watching Oddfellow do the find the skull routine. It was hilarious. I was just like, yeah, there's a skull. It's over there.
That's so funny because I that was my favorite moment of all the scare zones easily, because I mean that was the moment I wish they had in every single scare zone. Hello, Queso Quackers. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, no, that's the moment that I wish they had in every scare zone. But just sitting there and looking at it, like, and just keep watching.
That was a secret right there. They had the walking taco in the show.
Yeah, that's true. And then there's that little patio up there.
That's all right. We haven't really dove into the show quite yet. We're just talking about food, obviously. Horde Nights food.
It's a little appetizer, quite literally.
Now that's a good one right there. Do you, Aiden? Do you get pizza fries?
Once a year.
Once a year, yeah.
Once a year typically, and it's with. Last year I did it with someone who'd never had them, so it was more like they got them and then I had some. Normally, I'm a Twisted Tater person. That's my pick of the two. If you had to make me pick, those are very hit or miss. I will say I got pizza fries for the first time at Louis last year, as opposed to the Kid Zone, and they are different. They are different.
Interesting. This might have to be a video. I did not know that.
They're very minor, but they are a little different because I mean I'm sure they're prepared in different, obviously different conditions and stuff. But
well, I mean, it's Oddfellow. He doesn't know anything about like food and hot dogs. I mean,
I regret not getting that just for the funny. I probably would hate it, but just for the meme factor.
You should have had like gotten a dog and then went over there to go see Oddfellow. Like,
well, it was like a few months ago, almost 2 months before that, I got the pickle milkshake at Epcot, and I was like, I had to see what because like I feel like every park has that like one kind of like weird item that people put on their social media that's like, look at this wild thing at whatever, and or whether I know there's some Hollywood people in here, the 22-foot or 22-inch long hot dogs that they have over there, y'all are insane for that. Every year they have them. I'm like, I don't understand. I don't get it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the nature of Horde Nights. It's just too much to eat or drink unless you are a frequent fear pass holder, or you just pretty much just go on a mission of trying to eat everything. It's just it's too much. Like, I mean, that's a good thing to say is that there's too many options as opposed to just being like, oh man, like Man, I ate everything. I'm done. Yeah, the Reuben
There is,
fries. Did they keep those last year?
I
Or that
believe
was
so. I
only
think the ones, I think they kept them last year. I think the ones they got, because one the sweet potato ones, right? The sweet ones. I think they got rid of those, and they kept the Reuben fries. I think.
Yes, that
Could
makes
be wrong.
sense. Oh, did I glitch out for a second?
No. I was just reading this comment. Pizza fries are overrated. I mean, I could see I see that comment. I feel that.
Vanessa. I mean, you know what? That comment reminds me of is when people say they're tired of Jack or Jack is overrated, and I can understand that because Jack has been at the event so many years. He's the number one go-to. Is the Mickey Mouse of Horror Nights, and it gets kind of tiring. Although he had his evolution of different Jacks, but I can see that. That's kind of like a pizza fries are just overrated. Jack is overrated. Yeah, I can kind of see that.
I'm going to say this. I love Jack. I love all the icons. There are other icons I like more than Jack. I'm going to put it like that. Like, I like Jack, but he's not my favorite. But I think he's perfectly rated in my own personal opinion. But I could see where, like you said, people would find Jack.
Yeah, that's a little tip right there is that you can actually order, if you didn't know this already, here's a bonus tip. You can order the pizza fries on the app at Louis instead of waiting over in Kid Zone if it is a huge line, especially if there's a show that's going to be an Animal Actors. You bet when that lets out, that Animal Actors area is going to be full.
Oh.
So yes, you can order them on the app and just go to the pickup window. It's really quick.
Yeah, or I mean, and also Louis has seating inside, and there's more seating than there is at Kid. Because Kid Zone, trying to get a table at Kid Zone with pizza fries is like fighting a war. People will snipe and come in, and it's crazy. It's brutal out there.
Very, very true. That's a good trick. You got to share everything. That's true.
Oh yeah.
That way, everybody gets a little something. Couple more comments, then we can dive. Wow, you guys are commenting a lot. Trying to keep up with everything.
We said this in the last stream, and this I guess can lead us into wherever you're going. I don't know where you're going with this, but you talked about a big hot dog. We need a big Twinkie. If the rumors are true, a big like a full size Twinkie. They got to go for it. Don't just give me some store bought I can buy for $2 at Walgreens or 7-Eleven or whatever.
We are going to be talking about that in just a little bit. Just a little bit. Oh, well, there you go. Thank you for that tip. Thank you. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the long lines, Jack. Everyone's talking about their favorite icon. What caretaker? Yeah, there you go. Jack is okay. There we go. We got fans of everybody except for Storyteller. I mean, I think Lodge is the only Storyteller fan.
I like the Storyteller. I think that she just needs more happening with her. That's it. I like the concept, but they did it a little bit, but they need to go for it a little more, I think.
And last comment, then we'll jump into we need a shirt.
That's right.
Yeah, that does. All right. So where I will go first, should I go with option 1 or option 2, Aiden?
Option 2. Everybody's going to expect option 1.
All right. So I'm going to do this. All right. So where is it? Find it for a second. There we go. All right. So, as you can see on the screen, way back, HHN 13, first year I went. Yes, I'm like dinosaur old when it comes to Horror Nights. We only had dates in October back when it was HHN 13. Pretty crazy to know that would. I mean, how would you feel if it was just 1 month like that?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think it because October, and this is, and I was just talking to someone about this who wants to come for the first time, and they were just asking me, they're like, what's the basics? Like, what's the best time to go? And I say this is like September has that where people aren't in the Halloween vibe quite yet. But so people outside of obviously the community will come on opening weekend and opening whenever they can. But like people that are like want to go for Halloween and want to get the Halloween feel are most likely going to try to go in October, especially towards the later weeks as you get closer to Halloween. So I feel like you kind of, without having the September, I feel like you kind of have that. And I can't speak to that because when I was going, it was September and October, so it was both. But I feel like, I don't know. I think you can get the vibes. Like I feel like the vibes will definitely be stronger towards the Halloween feel because you're just having it in October. No sort of build up. You don't get the burnout too, because I think that's the thing, especially with people who have fear passes, right? If you go or even if you don't have a fear pass and you just go, I don't know why, if you go multiple nights, I don't know why you wouldn't get a fear pass, but if you don't, like, there's that burnout that sometimes happens when you get to that mid-October and you're like, okay, I'm ready for this to be over. Like, just because if you just see it all the time and you see it all, it happens. But I mean, it cuts it down, but I think I like going in September, but I wonder what everybody else thinks.
So interesting. We'll get to that comment in just a second because that is where we are heading with this. So October. So then let me do this. Stop sharing. Then Horror Nights kind of had some interesting stuff last year. So as you can see, last year it grew. It grew way back then from HHN 13 just being 1 month. It grew all of October, a little bit in November, some of September, and you can just go throughout the history of looking at them just tinkering a little bit by like HHN 16 and 17. It was like, I think like most of October and like mid-September. And now you can see, obviously with last year, it was all of September, all of October, and just the tail start of November. And that leads me to this year, which is a doozy. And a lot of people have been wondering this because they haven't released dates quite yet. Looking at the wonderful August month, you can see that 31st is on a Saturday. If we know anything, Horror Nights usually goes opening weekends of Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If I was a betting man, I would say it's going to roll into August 30th. Now that's more dates added on. I don't know how they're going to balance that with the actors, or we're going to have switch outs mid-month. Is it just going to be same actors all the way through? But how do you feel about this kind of being even further now? Like, are we heading to the future of being Horror Nights in August, September, October at some point, like all of August?
I don't know if we'd ever get to all of August. I mean, I don't know how far we go back, but because I think, and I don't know how far you have to say about this, but I know other haunts already set their dates in for the sixth, right? Second week of September.
Them, yeah, it starts in like the September 6th. Yeah.
6th. So, and they know, especially the ones that are here in Orlando, it's like, it's not that they won't have people, but if you open on the same nights as Horror Nights, forget it. Like that's just not a smart move. In general, or same thing in California too. If you're opening the same night as Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights, just the same situation. So I think, I think the 30th being opening night is pretty easy to sort of to predict, because I think it's like a thing that I think Universal might scale back closing, but I don't think they'll scale back opening, because I mean they went into November, I believe, in 29. Like I think it was November 2nd and 29. So we've had November dates, but it's not always. I think it's just if they know there are going to be lots of big properties, big crowds are already expecting that they will drop whatever, but yeah, that's just what I think. I don't see them. I see this being pretty comfortable, and then wherever it goes from there. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I also feel like because school, I don't know if this is in their decision time, because August, like school ends, most of the schools in Florida end at some point, I believe, like early August. So maybe between them kind of figuring out the dates of like, if they want to kind of have it to where high schoolers can come to the event, plus you morph it near, like they said, like most people are saying in the comment section, like Labor Day. Although I don't know if that makes things more expensive for people traveling, if they're trying to travel on like a holiday weekend. Doesn't hurt most of us who are local, but I can imagine if people are trying to book like Labor Day weekends, probably a little bit more of an added fee.
I mean, I think Universal is at this point with a lot of facets of Horror Nights, but I think they're at this point where they're kind of on their own game. They're like, we're people will come, like they will pay to come here. So it's like, it's this idea. And I know there was a comment here about that Disney, because Disney, I want to say started in August 11th. So literally the middle of
for
August.
Mickey's.
Yeah, for Not So Scary. And so I know, again, it's not, I don't see where it's the same thing with other hunts. I know Universal and Disney, that's a whole conversation, but I know they're not going to want to start two major Halloween events at the same weekend. I just don't, even if they're two completely different clientele, they really aren't, because you see a lot of, nowadays that it's becoming like with locals, especially here, right? People will go to both. People who are Disney pass holders and also Universal that want to come to Horror Nights. It's so there is an overlap. It's not like the biggest center of the Venn diagram, but it's there. I just don't see where they would do that, so would go that far. But I think if Disney keeps pushing it back, I can see Universal keep pushing it back. So like money is to be made here.
Yeah,
like you said, it's the biggest money maker. I see that in the chat too. Like it makes sense. Like. And this just makes sense based on their typical timing. But let's say next year they were to move it back, or this year for that matter, they were to move it a week beforehand. They were to move it a week before, like move it to the 23rd, and be like, that's a complete surprise because that doesn't follow the same. That's not out of the picture. I don't see it happening, but
yeah,
we never know. Dates aren't out yet.
Yeah, we never know how far they are on track, like with like how everything is already rock solid, lined up. The IPs are already on board. Everything's signed. There's no like, last minute switcheroos or anything that they have to do. Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully everything is all good.
Please don't send me hateful comments if something happens like that and they switch something out. Yeah, you are right. It is, and I can't. Sometimes it sucks to hear things because I can't say something. I will say this comment is kind of in line with something if it comes true and what you just talked about, maybe something coming earlier. But who knows? We'll have to see when the first announcement comes, which I'll throw this out. Aiden, do you believe that our first announcement will be like we did last year with a t-shirt that has nothing to do with properties coming? Or do you think we will get just like, oh, ticket sales, like single night tickets, and I don't know, like unmasking tickets like they did last year. Like anything.
Express. Yeah.
Oh, Express.
Because last year was Express, single
Mhm.
night, and unmasking. Because like
Okay.
someone like for me, I'm looking to potentially buy Express just for opening night, just so I can make sure I get those 10 houses done. Not for any of
Mhm.
the other nights because I don't really feel the need to, but just for the video for you guys, so that I can
Yeah.
make sure I get everything done. But
Sacrifices.
but no, here's my thing, okay, and maybe it's just because I'm on the hype, but if the Twinkie boys, if they're coming, if they're going to come to the event this year, I think it could be smart if they play in that hype that's happening right now with the movie, and that's really going. Everybody's talking about Ghostbusters. I just rewatched the first movie. For those who are in the chat who don't know, it's free right now on YouTube, with ads if you
Oh,
want to
okay.
rewatch it or you haven't seen it. The original 1984 film, but especially if all the rumors and ideas about them bringing into Ghostbusters in the summer with new additions to the park, I feel like it would just be smart if you kick that off with an HHN announcement with do like what they did with Beetlejuice at 30, where that was kind of like the beginning announcement, right? And then they said, okay, we have a big IP to initially get people talking, and if we already have these things coming, it can kind of be like the first kickoff to, and now we're going to bring Ghostbusters to the park in the meantime between now and HHN. That's
That
just my
would
thought,
be,
but
man, you convinced me. That would be,
I don't know if they would. I don't know if they would do that.
yeah.
What are you saying?
Oh, I was saying like that would be the biggest way for them to not that they really need to like be ahead of competition because it's Horror Nights. I mean they can really announce nothing and people are still gonna buy tickets and go. But the only thing I feel like it's weird because they miss if we're going down speculation and it's not Afterlife or it's not relating to that and it's the classic Ghostbusters, then that would explain why we didn't really have an announcement like with the movie coming out and dropping like a Horror Nights announcement, like, oh, go see the movie and then go live through the Frozen Empire, like at Halloween Horror Nights. That would lean me to believe it is classic Ghostbusters and they're just going to wait a little while to do the announcement. Because everyone was, I guess, speculating that we were maybe going to get something this week and nothing happened. So everyone was like, oh, no. I didn't even think it was going to happen.
I don't think so, for the sole reason is that is not a Universal movie. They don't need to promote that movie. What Exorcist makes sense. That's Blumhouse, Universal, right? All the Blumhouse movies, or whether it's a classic monster movie, or whether it's whatever, that stuff's Universal stuff. It would make sense for them to promote it, or like the Black Phone. I remember them doing that right around the time the Black Phone came out. So like, I think there's no need for them to try to tie in to get people to see the movie because they're not profiting off that movie. So why would they waste their time with that? But I'm just saying, because the hype is up right now that people are talking not just about Ghostbusters of an Empire. I know there are some people that are like, would that be great for a house? And people might forget the movie, but it doesn't really matter because people are talking about the franchise. So that I think will be like in the coming weeks, they pop out an announcement and say, hey, coincidentally, there's this other movie that's from another studio that's not us, that's out, that has to do with this franchise, but it's not like a promotion. Because me, I have a feeling, and this is just me, I have a feeling they're going to pull the Michael Myers thing, where they're going to go back to the first movie, because there are people like me who have not seen that house. And so you use that as the basis, but also that house had characters from 2. It had characters from 2016. So maybe you can add characters, or maybe a couple little, like have the little mini puff guys. I know they're going to put that everywhere. If that's merchandise, that is a popcorn bucket waiting to happen. So it's like those little characters, or like Muncher, I think is one of the new ghosts from the new films. stuff like that. Like put those in the house alongside our classics, our Gozers, our Slimers, our Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, because I feel like that stuff's just too hard to remove it. While the new movie would, I think, be fun. I think it could be a fun setting. I just don't see where the classic fans are going to be like, okay, like, why should I care? That's just me. Even though there is the nostalgia in there, it's not the same as the original with some new stuff. That's just my soapbox rant. But
or they could do like a t-shirt tagline. I don't know. I mean, they already did See You in the Fog.
They could always go back to, they did The Legend is Real. They put that on some stuff last year, and then they never really used it. So it could be like a thing they were setting up for maybe being because I don't see where they do the fog thing again because of Knott's. I think because a lot of people are like, that's Knott's thing. Why are you putting that on the shirt? Including Knott's themselves. So it's like I think them. Yeah, so like I think them doing like The Legend is Real, or if we get the Never Go Alone Again, which I think we need to retire that, but that's just me. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's the new era. If that's the era of Horror Nights we're in. We had The Walking Dead, we had the Icon years, we had the Walking Dead years, we had the Never Go Alone years.
And if it goes in line with your speculation of one of the originals that was on that map, I would love for them to have Legendary Truth. Like, just give us a Legendary Truth, like the lion symbol shirt. They sold them way back. I still have mine. Love it. But I don't feel like that's well known for them to do that as a first drop.
No.
That's something just like extra in the tribute store.
Yeah. I think Legendary Truth merch is not that far, because I mean they made that vinyl that was all Legendary Truth, and it was all like literally, and it was so amazing. I bought that thing so quick.
Yeah, that is true. It would be amazing as far as the set design. Yes, they can definitely do that. Oh, there you go.
Don't talk
you
to
don't
me
want
about
like
that.
the old man Chucky, like.
That is, you know what? Do a meet and greet. Do like the puppet meet and greet they had in the Scare Zone, and do it the old version where he's like just being even more off the cuff with the roasts and stuff because he's old and he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, we see how that went for Hollywood. Hey, that is an interesting one. I know, like. Friends of the channel Horror Fiends, they are doing the live stream. I'm not sure if it's still currently going. If it is, afterwards go pop over there and watch the replay. They were mentioning about the tribute store and a lot of little clues about Lady Luck. I know for me that was one of the main things I pointed out the first time going through the Mardi Gras store. I was like, what's with the cards? There's a lot of cards. Is this something they're just doing for the store? Is this a theme? What's going on here?
The one that I think that this is an off. I don't want to say off center because it's not. It's like pretty relevant if you went to the event last year. I think, and this is on near the top of my list if they're going to do icons. I think Madame Bazile, who had this presence, she was in a bunch of stores. They did this teaser with her, and we were like, "Oh, she's going to appear alongside Oddfellow. She's going to be like a secondary character, almost like for those who've been really familiar with the lore, like Eelmouth and Terror Queen, where it was like the kind of the duo of characters. But she did not appear. She was in the store, but it was like she wasn't like really there. So I think, and she, she's a fortune teller, so the card thing could be, and I think it would be interesting in a world where we have a storyteller. I know there's some controversial opinions on a storyteller, but a fortune teller as an icon could be, I think, an interesting thing to bring to the event, some kind of oracle that can see into the future and something. They've kind of toyed with that. I remember that one commercial where he was the fortune teller and it had the Jason, the Freddy, and the Leatherface cards. But I think that's up near my list just because it was something they did kind of tease, but it's not too obvious. Like Boris Schuster, I think is a little too on the nose for this year at least. Even though I would love Boris more than anything, but that's just my thought. But if we're talking cards,
yes, if we're going down the rabbit hole, just I want to pick your brain on something that you mentioned about Madam last year. How she was teased. She kept saying, "Oh, I joined Odd." What'd she say? I joined Oddfellow Circus or something.
Traveling with Oddfellow.
We do know on stage where Oddfellow was. There were multiple prompts that I don't think ever came into play. So I did wondering, what were those? Was he supposed to be doing like a live murder on the stage? Was it supposed to be maybe someone else? So that could maybe have tied into a live Madam character being up there. That would have been a cool character to see, just opposite of like Oddfellow being up there. Or he could have been like walking through the crowds while she was up there.
That's what so there's a few thoughts. So that's what I initially thought they were going to do when they revealed the big truss where he comes out on the top for the ceremony. I thought, okay, so he's going to be up there and she's going to be because how are you going to have him up there? But he, obviously he was just up there for the opening ceremony and then he came down. But I think, okay, my HHN theorist brain wants to say, yes, they're planning on doing more with her or maybe him. My reality brain makes me think that originally he was going to be a mic where they don't speak, and they were going to have all the Z prompts of him like Pumpkin Lord, but then maybe they said we want him to speak, maybe to kind of play alongside if they do something with him and Jack in the future or whatever. Like, we want to have this a speaking character. We want to have these experiences where we can have people get interrogated on their zodiac sign or have him come into the crowd and say hello, and talk.
Yeah.
So maybe because those prompts were there pretty early, like pretty much right after they put that stage up, those prompts were there. So maybe that was a last minute change of them saying, oh, maybe we want to switch it over, and they were just kind of like, well, we already have these here. Or again, like you're saying, maybe that's a thing they plan to do. Maybe that got cut, or maybe they're like, well, this is too good of an idea to do now. Maybe we can save this for next year. Maybe we can recycle that carriage and bring that back and not have to build a new prop. But
if I had to take a guess on that, where's it at? On this,
oh wow, just had it pulled up.
I swear we're not going to talk about the map other than this comment. If I had to take a guess of anything, it's definitely the Cadillac Ghostbusters, which rumored. I'm putting my air quotes up, rumored, and I feel like the vampire one or the skull with the teeth. I feel like that is for sure.
Yeah.
Something. And the quiet symbol. I feel like those are pretty much locked in as far as IPs. I think the rumored Blumhouse or whatever it may be, it can be a toss up. It could be something else. It could be no Blumhouse at all. It could be just a Blumhouse property, but just a full house of whatever that series could be. Purge, City, could be a lot of things. Could be a mashup. I mean,
I think those two, the Cadillac and the sort of vampire skull, I think those for me are locked in. I'm going to just say, just because it is unknown, I think the unknown, whether that's Blumhouse, whether that's something else, regardless, I think Blumhouse. I mean, based on that little teaser they had at in January, where they're like, "Hey, we're going to go to Halloween Hornets this year." It was almost like I feel like they're going to have some presence, and it would make sense for them to have. I feel like that could just be an easy house for them to put in, regardless. Again, what you said, like it's Purge, Insidious, Horrors of Blumhouse again with some new IPs, whatever. But I think those, like Wolfman, like I think any of those could be so yeah, those are the three that I'm going with. Sure, is like pretty sure based on all these things that we've heard and just kind of general context. Like, yeah, this makes sense. They've done this before. This is an easy IP for them to do again or bring to the event. Guess the stream's over, guys.
Oh,
welcome to the stream.
That is our friends, the Horror Fiends. If you love HHN content, if you love horror movies, definitely check them out. They go to a lot of the local stuff, a lot of the events. Believe you'll see them at some of the festivals too, like Spook. What's it called? Spooky Empire. Spookala.
Spookala.
Yeah.
I might be going to Spooky Empire this year. I'm not too sure. It depends on what my situation is, but maybe.
Yeah, it's always been my bucket list to go to the bigger one. I've been to the retro one a couple times, but I definitely want to do the bigger one, and I think it's in October.
Yeah.
The
October.
That's one I've always wanted to do. It's just it never pans out because it's always like Horror Nights time, and then Hollow Scream and all these other stuff, and then maybe this year.
Yeah, and that's for me. Like the other haunts are also taking priority this year, so it's that's why I was saying if I don't go to the May one, I'm probably not going to go this year. It would be the May one would probably be it because October's is too busy.
Yeah, that would be funny. I don't think The Purge really had a great house just because it was a last minute switcheroo, but I think they can really do some interesting stuff with The Purge of going through the movies. Like maybe you start out with the home invasion of one and then you break out into the city. There's a lot of different characters, a lot of different stuff they can do. So yeah, for sure. I've always thought The Purge is a great property to be at the event.
And I'm just thinking because I'm thinking if it's not shoehorned, like you're saying, if it wasn't shoehorned, whether that's Horrors of Blumhouse or 2015, like if they actually were to get their own sets, everything is all dedicated to The Purge. I mean, thinking about a house even if they were to put it in a tent, thinking about a house like The Darkest Deal, you went from inside of a club to outside to on the streets to back inside of a building. So I feel like you could make it happen in a place like that. Or if you wanted to go bigger for I know next year the final movie is coming out, so maybe they wait.
They really are doing one more Purge movie.
Final movie, as I believe, set to release in 2025 or it's 2026. Because I was thinking, I'm like, wow, 35.
I totally
have a big Purge house.
Wow, yeah. I thought they were done. They've done everything. I mean, they've had a TV series. They've had the movies. I mean,
just need a video game.
Horror Fiend said creator meetup at the con sometime. Yeah, that would be great. We'll have to keep it on the radar if we go to either one of these. Definitely bring back the Purge Scare Zone. That would be very interesting. You definitely see that filling that New York area, obviously. And interesting enough that we're on the topic of Scare Zone.
Oh, nice segue.
Into a little rumor that dropped, I believe this week, came out of nowhere. I won't say I heard about this coming a Scare Zone. I did hear about this maybe being tied to Hollywood, so it's kind of interesting. But what we're talking about is this. Yes. I remember when this dropped. Y'all knew it was coming, but I was still coming out. So good. A little known fact, they did film this on Universal property here in Orlando. I believe backstage in one of the restrooms. Yeah. So, what we are talking about right there is the man, the myth, the legend, The Weekend. House, I think we both enjoyed it. Yes.
I love that house so much.
So, what's very interesting though about this is a lot of times, this was stated to be a scare zone. What I find very fascinating is so split with comments that I've read on Facebook, Reddit, all the comment section about this announcement or this rumor. And so many people are like, yes, do it. So many people are like, no, I hate this idea. Why? He's not horror. It's that whole topic again.
Yep, bringing it back.
I
Unfortunately,
I don't get it. Like the house was horror. Like and they can do two ways of this zone. If it was a scare zone, like first, where would you want them to do this in if it was a true rumor?
Okay, I'm gonna say this because of another scare zone that's been in this location, Hollywood. I'm thinking of Vanity Ball, and I'm thinking of like that kind of like almost like the because that kind of brings like the nightclub vibe kind of the after hours. But I think yeah, because I think if you were to do it like there, I think it's big enough that it'll be able to hold people and it'll be able to create the atmosphere. I think. So I've said this before. I'm someone who thinks the San Francisco is probably the worst location we have because it's just no matter what you do, it's just always going to be too packed. And Central Park, yes, too, but like Central Park can get away with it because it looks nice. So like you can be like, okay, well, yeah, you can forgive it. But I think Hollywood it would be a great place for this. They've had a history of doing fun zones there. I mean, Eddie, Lights Camera Action, Vanity Ball, what was the other one? The Vamp, the first Vamp zone there, like them doing them kind of like fun zones there with a lot of movement, a lot of interaction with that. And the only thing, because I know a lot of people are drawing comparisons to Rob Zombie because that was the last year of IP. Well, no, Crypt TV, I guess technically was, but that was also in San Francisco. Was the last music scare zone was Rob Zombie, maybe the only one.
Enough that you say that because
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking of. Everyone saying like, oh, the weekend zone would be an awful idea, and I'm like, people love the Rob Zombie zone. Like
Yeah, it
that
looks
was
sick.
just what this was. It was like his music, characters from his music video and his world, and it was done in the San Francisco area. I thought it was probably one of the better scare zones they've had there for a while.
I think if you were to do, and I think because a lot of people are saying, I know there's some people talking about Dawn FM and stuff like that. Like I think that I think Dawn FM will be the logical place to go here, so you don't just retread old ground from after hours. But like, I think that because Dawn FM, if I remember correctly, is kind of like him aging. Like that's like the theme of the album. So you could be almost like this, him looking back at his memories, and that's kind of like the twisted nightmare memories from after hours from Dawn FM. If you want to journey back farther, I don't think he wants to because he likes to market that after hours and then this too. This is another factor right here, the fact that they had it in Singapore, both albums together in a like one big story. And I think that could be something that could be told through a scare zone. Yeah, I think it could be a lot of fun. I mean, the vibe, and I know some people would agree with me. I know some people said this because I put a poll about the weekend out not too long ago. Overwhelming 86% loved it. Out of 300 votes, 86% loved it. 14% maybe said not for them. So it's pretty popular. But also some things that people noted was that the line was a party in itself. Just them blasting the music with the strobes and then the projection on the thing. Like, I think if they were to keep that same energy in an actual zone, it would be massive. I think it would just be massively popular. Yeah, exactly.
It's the only zone, or like the only like queue area I've ever been in where it was like, oh, I don't mind.
Yeah,
like,
it's a party.
Yeah.
Yeah, one time I waited here for, I was with family, and we waited for literally we waited in one of those 70, 80 minute queues for this, and and we were able to get by because of that. Because had it just been a regular queue, it would have been 10 times worse.
Yeah. And my dream idea for this would be, now this is it's kind of hard to do in a scare zone, but I don't think they've attempted something kind of like this idea. You put it in New York, obviously that's kind of just a cheap cop out of doing it in New York. But you make New York look like Las Vegas, like it was in the video. It's like the neon lights. You make it look like you're walking right on what is it called in Las Vegas? The Strip.
Yeah.
And you make it him in the classic with the red suit, but then you do a really cool switch. Like maybe one cast is one album, the other cast is Dawn FM. And then you do something really weird where the zone starts, like the lights start flickering and warping out, and then the Dawn FM characters come in, and maybe it switches to music to songs from Dawn FM. And you can do like color scheme on the zone and stuff. And even if they want to go even bigger, you do the 3D projections, which they haven't done since Acid Assault, maybe. Or I'm trying to think if there was another zone after they did that where you project on those New York buildings, and you can do whatever you want. You can put it to be like Las Vegas-ish, or you can put it to be different type of buildings. But that would be like them going all in, like 100%.
That sounds like a great idea, and I like that because After Hours has a very like red aesthetic. Obviously, you have the red suit, you have all the red lighting, and then that was kind of the vibe in the house. But then Dawn FM has a very like blue, so like I think that could be an interesting like shift, like you're saying, like maybe even have a radio announcer, maybe not Jim Carrey because that's expensive to pay royalties.
Dawn FM, they did have the radio.
Yeah, like have that be like have it come over the intercom, and then that's kind of how you start your switch, and do it almost like how they would do sometimes with the Vamps, where they would have one cast come in, another cast, and they do a little moment. It's not like they just walk on and off stage. Like you have to sell it like that, like make it like an actual some kind of big moment. Doing that. So I think that's absolutely I don't know how, because that's a very ambitious concept. Regardless of how they do it, it's very ambitious. But if they were to go for it, I think it could be a great zone.
Yeah, the only thing I worry is the music, and I am not a huge fan of Vamp. I really dislike the zone. This video makes it look awesome. The characters were great. The actors, they were all in it. Like they were all in their characters. I just didn't enjoy it every time I was in. I was like, why is there a Congo line? Why? It's very silly, and I get it. And I was okay with the other Vamp being kind of the way they were. But I felt like this was like, I don't know, like a miss. And I would be more worried that Vamp 69 would be like the Weekend. It would follow that format of being just like too many people dancing in the zone, and it would just take away from it being a scare zone, because that's the main thing people say, oh, the Weekend is not scary. And then we just have Vamp 69. And then we have another like music zone where people are like dancing and stuff. So I would worry about that aspect.
Well, that's my one thing I think with putting it in Hollywood is you kind of confine it a little more, because it's not as big as New York. New York is by far just the streets being the widest. And I feel like you really lean into the scary, because for me, okay, I didn't find the Weekend terribly scary, but there were a couple scenes, a couple characters, a couple moments. The giant frog creatures, those could be crazy in a scare zone. Put them on stilts or something, like create something like that to put on stilts and have that be like a part of it. Or like the nurses, like they're great. So like, yeah, it can be. I'm trying to keep on the train of thought, and then this comment came into the mix. I know there's that talk about like, will he put a little No, no, because if it's in Orlando, he just will forget about it. He just won't act like it. Because like last time he was like, I remember 2022 Hollywood opening night, Horror Nights begins right now, and it's like you've had the house open for a week already in Orlando. It's like all right, guy. So he doesn't know Orlando exists. So he wouldn't tweet about it if it was just in Orlando. It'd have to come to Hollywood. Although that comment right here about Terror Tram, I know there's a couple comments about Terror Tram in here. I want you've been on the Terror Tram, so you can actually attest to sort of the experience of the Terror Tram and whether that would work. But I think it kind of would be I think it could be at least interesting. If it doesn't work, it's a curious experiment.
I could definitely see it working. Because I'm trying to wonder, like, I guess like the Bates Motel would just be like dedicated to after hours. And then if you want to do Dawn, I don't know, because they seem to always have us be a part of, because that's Jordan Peele's section. So it feels kind of weird once you get to that point. You're like, oh, okay, like we're done with the other part.
Yeah, we just dropped the theming.
Maybe because if you're going through the War of Worlds set, it would be like the Dawn FM, like the after, like maybe they can do some of those characters there.
Or what I'm thinking is, so you can kind of maybe divvy up the section. So I think, yeah, the dance zone, that would help. Yeah, I feel like that would be the same thing with the Terror Tram too. I feel like Terror Tram, that will be the nightmare of people like just filming and recording the whole thing. In terms of like clogging up. Anyway, but you mentioned the motel though, and that makes me think it kind of does give off like a Vegas, like you could theme that to Vegas if you wanted to make it like a Las Vegas motel if you really wanted to do that. And then they had that indoor section last year, so maybe that can be like if they wanted to remake something like the club scene, a smaller version of that, or maybe a blinding lights section, just to have a little homage to do that indoor section. I'm thinking War of the Worlds. Yeah, you could do that. And then, I think the opening sort of, whatever you call, like the opening scare where all the chainsaws come out right when you get off.
Yeah.
Like that. I think that kind of writes itself, him being there, and then you have a bunch of chainsaws come out. I think in Hollywood, honestly, I think a Terror Tram might. I just wonder if it would be too much like the house, like too much like we're just doing after hours again. But
yeah, that's true.
But they did. Last thing, because I know there's some people here that are chatting. They did talk about last year the Terror Tram celebrities, and I think that if maybe that's one piece of, maybe there's like a section. Maybe you bring back, like obviously the Jordan Peele stuff that will be relevant because it's like pop culture, modern celebrities. Yeah. So if you wanted to maybe try to adapt that, or if that was maybe one step to it being like an actual, like maybe that's like that was a clue from last year, because sometimes these things don't happen the year. Like sometimes it's every couple of years. So just a thought.
I did not even think about that. You're right. And it said Terror Tram celebrities. Very, very interesting on that one. Yeah, that would be. Yeah. Or like you said, it could be after hours bar. Yeah. Peacock bar area. Sadly, the Terror Tram is only located in the Hollywood HHN event, not Orlando. Hello. Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
That's true.
That was true. He was the host of the tram, like talking in it.
And I feel like that's kind of what they've been trying to do with the Terror Trams recently, like have like one host, whether it's Hollywood Harry, Chucky, Larry Larva, whoever, like be like one central character that maybe comes out at the beginning. I mean, Chucky didn't, but like kind of come out at the beginning, do like the opening, whatever. He'll appear maybe a couple times. Like I know Larry Larva had a couple appearances, but like really it's kind of the theme. So with Hollywood Harry, it was like the classic Halloween party, or like Larry Larva was the bug thing. Like, so it's like more of just a theme than like one specific person. But they do Titans of Terror. I believe they did a Titans of Terror Terror Trim, if I'm correct. So.
My favorite IP maze well, not to spoil it, I did do a best of mazes that I went through last year, and a couple of the Hollywood ones ended up on that list. So watch that video to find out what was my favorite. I don't want to spoil it, but you can probably take a guess. Ooh, it wouldn't. For the lagoon, that would be amazing, because they did do it when sadly I did.
Yeah, they dipped their toes into it though, because they only did, I think, the one track. They only did the one song.
It was like the closing of the show, right? Like the finale or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. I mean, I like it as a zone. I think it's. I'm at the point where if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be brokenhearted about it. I love the house, so that exists in my memories. Like I'm okay with not having it come. I don't need it back, but I think it would be cool if it did. But
yeah, I'm not gonna get my hopes up. It's speculation season, so things come and go. Some things get brought up multiple times, and maybe they get altered, or they come, like Aiden said, they talked about this year, but maybe they come down the pipeline like next year.
Maybe for sure.
I'd rather no week. Oh, but the beauty of it is that you would have 4 other scare zones. That's why, like, even though I wasn't a fan of Vamp, I still walk through it because I just love everything Horror Nights. I can hate a house like Chucky and still want to do it every so often, just because I'm like, it's a Horror Nights house, man. Like, I'm here, I'm vibing. I want to do everything. I want to see everything, even though maybe I don't enjoy it. I would still walk through and try to see if there's anything cool or different, or see a bunch of the little the characters kind of sometimes would like recognize me from going through so many times, so they would do funny stuff. The odd fellow in that knows me, so that was very, very hilarious. Why he pulled me to the side, he's like, "Zombie Chris," I was like, "Odd fellow." He's like, "Kill somebody, like bite somebody." I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah." He's like, "Follow me."
That's so awesome, though.
Is there any house? I mean, yeah, I would love to see Scream. I mean, are we talking like in general, like in being in reality, or are we talking just like anything's on the table? Like Horror Nights, like, look, we got an unlimited budget,
Yeah, they called you and they said, "Hey, we have every IP on the line right now. Who are you picking?"
So, oh, okay, yeah. Put me down for Conjuring, and Scream, please. And my dream property that they'll never do is Tales from the Crypt, Demon's Night, which I highly recommend. If you guys love horror and you've never seen that movie, definitely watch it. Billy Zane gives off a great Beetlejuice almost impression, because he reminded me of that character so much in that movie. But that's my dream. I want that as a house, but it'll never happen. Never.
Anything on the table, I'm gonna say this, and I have an original that I know would never happen. It's my own, and if it did happen, I would sue, because I would be like, there's no way.
Batman.
Well, but no, Batman that's an IP. That's an IP of mine. That's an IP of mine. I would love BioShock is another one. I would love them to do that big soundstage BioShock house would be very fun. And then trying to think. I mean, there are plenty. I have maps on maps on maps of houses that I would love to see. But I would like to see Give me a sequel to Slaughter Cinema where it's all Christmas movies,
Mm.
or as far as this year goes, as far as that's whatever's on the speculation map, that Black and White Skull, if that's what we think it is, that if it's a tribute to Terror Boy, Schuster, False Idols, whatever, sign me up. And also Ghostbusters, because I'm in the hype now. I want to see Ghostbusters. I rewatched the movie again. I was like, this movie's a lot of fun. So yeah, pencil me in for those.
You're all in. Sign up for a Twinkie and some Ecto Cooler.
Yep.
You're
Give
gonna
it to
be
me. Some marshmallows.
you're gonna be dancing
Marshmallows,
out of
Twinkie,
the
and
house.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's true.
I agree.
IP scare zones, at least one. That would be yeah, that's a tricky one. I mean, Hollywood has had exclusive IPs before. There's no reason like Creepshow was exclusive in Hollywood, didn't come to Orlando. So there's no there's no saying that John couldn't bring Terrifier over there, and Orlando's like, it's a little too graphic for us. I don't know.
I can honestly see that just because of I feel like while both of them cater to locals in a way, Hollywood's is more definitely a local event. People travel here to Orlando. It's got to be a little more accessible. And I think that then that goes with some of the properties they choose. It's like, why are they doing Stranger Things and Ghostbusters and all this stuff? You're like, it's because it's accessible. Like it people can come and say, oh, I don't love horror, but I like this. And then you might do another house, like an original, for example, like Dueling Dragons or Blood Moon or whatever, and be like, oh wow, now that was really cool. I'll have to come back and see what that's what they want to do. And I want to do it in Hollywood too, but Orlando is more of that where people travel here, especially when Epic opens, I'm sure. We just had a little paranormal activity moment with Chris's camera, but
I'm still here.
I see Evil Dead Rise in the chat too, which I have the Evil Dead shirt on. I mean, I'm it's my favorite horror franchise. So yes, I know that they had the house in Hollywood, and that's one that I would lament to see. I would love to see Evil Dead. Any of the Evil Deads. I know, really barring the 2013 one, because they already did that one, and that's probably my least favorite of the Evil Dead movies, if I'm being honest. But I do like it.
Oh,
yeah,
and
I love the original 3.
Did you think there would be any elements?
I think it's going to be, if they're going to do elements, it'll be like when they had, like, for example, if they had scare act, like if the characters in the Kong queue were still there, stuff like that, where they might add some of the tricks from HHN happening in Epic Universe. I don't think they're going to put like a haunted house. I don't think they're going to put like a scare zone. I think they'll have roaming kind of actors, but not scare actors like the characters. But maybe in the queue line, having some maybe they have some kind of some little spooky scare elements, but not like nothing crazy.
Yeah, I don't think they'll like have like characters running around, and I mean, you might get some of the characters come out for meet and greet type of whatever situation. We know they have casted people for villagers, so we know like there will be people roaming around sort of the area, which is really cool to have that type of element in there.
Yeah, it fills it out, that it's not just monsters, because I mean there's only like 4 of them, so
yeah.
Scream is something. Scream is something right now. That franchise it's got some situations.
It's had the most interesting history, almost one of the most interesting histories with Hornets. That one, maybe I would say like Walking Dead. It's probably up there of like the most interesting. Well, and Conjuring too, but like Scream, man, wow, it was here.
So close yet so far.
Um, it's a tricky one. Because it would be like the Shining situation where it's because I don't know how much. Am I wrong about that? It's Stephen King, right?
Yeah, so I think because The Shining was like the whole reason why I think they did it was because it was the movie. It wasn't the actual like the book. It was the
Yeah.
Stanley
So
Kubrick.
they were able to bypass Stephen King being like, I don't want this at the event.
Yeah. I just don't see where Salem, unless Salem's Lot has a huge turnaround, like because it's going, from what I understand, it's going straight to streaming. A lot of people worried about it being canned, but from what I
Mm.
understand now, it's just going straight to HBO. So like, if it has this crazy turnaround where people like love it, I don't suspect that happening. But if it does, for whatever reason, if it becomes the next big hot horror streaming item, I maybe if they really want to pursue it, but I don't know.
Um, maybe. I mean, if we have Ghostbusters, they are 80s. The last time we had them was 80s type year, right? Am I wrong about
Yeah,
that? Oh,
it was
yeah.
2019.
So could be, but then again, if we have Ghostbusters and we have like Abigail, that's not 80s, so then it won't fit in with the year. But then again, it's Horror Nights. Anything's possible. Like they can mix stuff.
I don't know if they would really because I don't like I know it's been 5 years, so I know that that's like an ample amount of time, but I still think it's too soon because I think they went so hard on it. So I mean, and this is someone who would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see them do an 80s year, but I just don't see them tying everything in with the 80s because it just I feel like they I feel like a lot more people will be like, "What we've been asking them to do that with the 90s and they're going to do the 80s again. Like we've already
Mm.
done it 3 times now." So it's
Yeah.
like so it'd be like I think if they're going to do a 90s year or just another theme before you do the 80s again. That's just my personal thought. And that's if they mix Ghostbusters with something else. But
Yeah, this is one of the properties I think either you or I can do a video on like the most sought after properties or the most asked by the public for, and 13 Ghost is always on that list. Scream is on the list. Conjuring, um,
Fear
maybe
Street now.
Fear Street,
It's
definitely.
I see a lot
Um,
of people Scooby Doo. I see that one all the time. People are wanting Scooby Doo house
well,
all
I
the
mean,
time.
Scooby Doo though is Warner Brothers, so I don't. If they can't do, The Conjuring or uh, they won't do Scooby Doo. So
And I think Scooby Doo is too complicated. But another one is like I see Hellraiser. I know Gremlins is another one. That's one that I always talk
yes,
about.
yeah, a
Like,
lot of people
and I,
do always bring up Hellraiser. Yeah.
it's just what it's at this point. It's whatever hasn't become a house already because so many of them have been houses before. I mean, we've done Halloween, we've done Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we've done Chucky and Freddy and Jason. It's been a while, but they've done it before a few times. But
Yeah,
Goosebumps too.
knowing Horror Nights, I could see them doing this, but doing like their own original take where it's not Goosebumps, but it's like I don't know, like original. Like we go through like chapters of this author, and they can just build that character. Like this author wrote these graphically crazy teen novels that came true, or something to that degree. Knowing them.
I mean, they already kind of dipped their toes because Case Files was essentially that. It was like
Mhm.
we have this detective novels that are like these pulp fiction detective novels that people, are basically going chapter to chapter through. So I think it could, I think if you did it like almost like a mix of that, but also like, okay, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but like something like the grimoire from Knots, like, isn't that
Yes.
like them reading a book and like a
Yep.
campfire, right? So like
Yeah.
maybe it's like that, like scary stories to tell in the dark mixed with like the
Mhm.
grimoire and Goosebumps and make it something like that where it's I don't know, they might be too close to Knots on that one to
'Cause
be like, hey,
they can
slow
definitely
down.
tie that into storyteller, like reading because
Yeah.
in that commercial she's reading like the bedtime story, so they can play something in that to where it's like a book of tales that she's citing, and maybe those books, maybe it's a house, maybe it's like multiple scare zones if they wanted to do. This is just like way thinking, but if they were like, oh, let's bring storyteller back, but have her do nothing with Terror Queen, like no relation, nothing there. It's just here's a storyteller who's going to tell these stories.
I think, and this is something that I've said before, like I've said before, and I said this in my own video, and I plan on doing a full video on this too. It's like I think all the icons need some kind of reboot, some kind of reimagining, and all the old icons, pretty much everybody, Fear and back, like needs something added, because we've just seen they've been stuck in that same place for so long at every event or anniversary event. And my one wish, my one hope, I would love for 35 for them to go back and pull a note from 16 where you do a few big icon houses, not just one. Do like a director house, maybe a director and usher house, maybe a storyteller house, maybe a caretaker and Cindy house, or Eddie, Jack, and Chance. Like you mix up a few different characters so you don't have just boom, it's a dump of everybody's here, but then they all only get one little scene to shine.
Yeah.
Even though icons captured is cool, like let's expand the stories that way, and like doing like what you said with the storyteller, like going, maybe you can mix in some homage to Scary Tales or Tooth Fairy or things like that are already in there. Maybe mix that in for like an anniversary year, for example. So that's what I think, like taking that route and giving everybody, or at least like I said, a few related characters, some kind of icon house.
Yeah, and it will be very interesting of how they are taking things leading up to the anniversary year. More of that will obviously come once everything's announced. This year, we'll see, are they going with the new icon, or are they going with a retro one, but like making it an upgrade? Because I know a lot brings us up all the time that the last time we saw Storyteller, she wasn't the same Storyteller that we've seen before. In HH Icons Captured, she was a different like form, and that was something they added onto her character. So between that and then Oddfellow being a new icon, it's gonna be interesting. I would want them to sort of just spend each year and revamp some of these or something, but
that's what I think. Like that, what they did with Storyteller and Icons was so pitch perfect, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Let's do some new things with these characters. Let's not just saying completely abandon the lore and do all the stuff that, you know, obviously let that stuff exist, but let's add. I just want us to add onto it. So that's my one big like sort of pitch. It's like, let's just add to the icons. Let's just do all the things. So that's my big pitch with it.
I don't think you'll see the Beetle Man. Don't say his name 3 times. I don't think you will see him at the event. And if Five Nights is, I mean, Blumhouse still. That's what I would go with. I mean, I don't think it would be Five Nights, and it wouldn't be Beetlegeist. It wouldn't be anything other, like I said, Blumhouse. But they have a long laundry list. Like you say, you could do The Purge, you can do Insidious just as a standalone house throughout the entire history. You can do a mix house.
You never know at this point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm happy Nev is back and Scream is on track. Yeah, that's everyone wanted that Megan house, and maybe you'll get it.
Here. I mean, I think it could be fun. I feel like Blumhouse is one of those, like, it's how do I say this? It's not like the big IP. it's always like kind of a let's round up the roster IP since I'd say like the original, like or yeah, really since the first tours of Blumhouse or like the Purge or whatever, like those were big, but I feel like now it's kind of like let's just add, like it's like the monsters. I feel like are at that point too, where it's like yes, they're popular, and will it get a line for sure,
Yeah.
but it's one of those where it's not the primary thing that they're going to put on all the T-shirts and marketing and stuff. Like they'll put the other big IPs out there first before they'll do whatever with Blumhouse, regardless of what it is. But yeah, that's just my thought.
If I had to take a guess on this one, what month do you think this has?
I'm gonna say
It
right here.
May. A lot of people are saying May. I mean,
it's gonna be May. I'm gonna say, and this is probably the last question that I'm gonna do because I have to run. So I thank you all for being, and I don't know how long you're gonna go on, Chris, but thank you all for being, for chatting and it was a great time streaming. But I think if they don't do it now, I think what, well, last year was June, so my thing is like, I'm gonna go May. I'm gonna go May. If not, like I said, whatever we get. If we don't get it soon with tickets, like if tickets just drop and there's no announcement, I think May is a pretty safe bet, whatever it is. But yeah. But thank you all again for welcoming me onto the stream, and thank you, Chris, for inviting me. So I had to run real quick, but
thank you for coming on, giving us some of your knowledge. Definitely check out Dreamport Productions if you love some real deep dive videos, real think pieces. Definitely check him out. I'll have a link down in the description box.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank y'all. And yeah, I'll see y'all another time. See you, Chris.
See ya. All right. Do we have any? Let's see. Yes, Gremlins. Yeah, Gremlins would be good. I can see it coming. Megan Horde. It. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Yeah, Michael Myers. He needs that. He needs to rest a little bit. But then again, we do have the Halloween TV show coming, so maybe. Oh, poor John Murdy. That's my dream. My goal this year is to meet John Murdy. Yeah, Sinister needs to be a house. It was a fantastic house when it was here. I could definitely see that. Think Weekend Icon this year. Yes. After the popularity of last year with Oddfellow and how big he was, how popular, every time I went to that front area, he had a crowd watching him. I think we definitely get an icon for sure. Who's that icon? I have no clue. That's true. Yes, they are always throwing up some old school merch with them. Yep. Yeah, that's true. She definitely got the short end. Her house was kind of just added in there out of nowhere. Wasn't too great. She's always just kind of been in shadow of caretaker. So yeah, that's true. I have the merch. This is the merch from Hot Topic. So if you've never seen this, I did a video. I think I ordered a shirt and a hoodie. So really good stuff. Love it. Love it. Maybe. Feel like we're given a younger chance to experience. Yes, that is true because a lot of people are new to the event and they have not experienced Icon years or Jack or Director. A lot of folks came in when Stranger Things 1 was at the event. So There are a lot of people who are just brand new to the event. Yeah, that would be hilarious for them to do something like that. It's been a house. It's been a house twice in Orlando. In fact, they did, I believe, back to back, which is weird. They've never done this in the history of Horror Nights. It's one of the most mind-boggling things they've done. But yes, they've had it here. Yeah, that's true. Sinister did have his time. It would only be a part of like a mix house and not a solo house at this point. Now that would be interesting for announcement next week. Yes, I would love it, obviously, but maybe May. If they're going to do like a pre-announcement, like a shirt, I definitely see that coming up in April at some point, and then maybe they drop the bigger announcement in May. Um, we did talk about this earlier in the stream, so I do believe it is going to be August. When did we get the announcement for the dates? Maybe sometime next month or May. Yes, and Dreamport, awesome as usual. Oh, yep. One could only hope. Do you think it's possible we get a new icon to be related to the? That's a good one. We did discuss maybe Madam coming in because she was kind of teased a lot last year, and then she just ended up being in the store as a static figure. So maybe that would be kind of cool. Yeah, it's pretty good merch. I gotta give them. It's pretty good merch. And if you didn't already know, on Amazon as well, Universal has like a Halloween Horror Nights actual like page that has older T-shirts that you can order. Um, it's some of the stuff that they had a couple years back, like the Pumpkin Lord and some of the like HHN Divas and some of the old merch, but it's on there. Who would be your dream icon, not based on the existing characters? So a dream icon? Hmm. But I can't base down on a previous one. So something like original, I guess. Hmm. That's a really good question. I can't come up with a concept off the top of my head on that one. Let's see. A few more questions. Got Bloodhounds. Yes, that's well. Yes and no. I do believe Warner Brothers still carries the rights to The Conjuring, or at least maybe distribution rights. So I don't think just because that deal is gone through, I don't know if they could get The Conjuring at Horror Nights. That's a tricky one. Yeah, that's true. Mardi Gras is almost out of here, and we haven't yet seen a teaser in the store about whatever's coming. That rumored Ghostbusters summer store that should be coming. That's when I think we will get an announcement. Is sort of the Ghostbusters summer store and a Ghostbusters Halloween Horror Nights house. I think those are going to be in line with each other. So possibly in April, we'll get that announcement. Yeah. What is the tagline? Never, never, ever, ever go alone. Yeah, they won't do Candyman. I just that's one that's on the properties. They just won't do Candyman. Sadly, no. If Dreamport was here, he would be all over this comment. So, yeah, that one's for you, Dreamport. Yes, he could be an icon. I know a lot of people were clamoring for him. They love the house. We want Boris. We want more Boris. So yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, buying it during yeah. Ooh, now that would be interesting. Yes, because Boris is investigating maybe Lady Luck. That you might be on to something there. You might be on to something. Yeah, that's true. They have gotten way, way, way better at the yeah, that's true. Oh, wow, that is going old school right there. That's true. Spirit Seekers, still a property they could use at some point down the road if they wanted to. It could be a cool nod, cool throwback. But yeah, they who knows what happened to them? Only Horde Knights, only creative. A&D knows what happened. What do you think is a property will fight tooth and nail? Extra. I felt like they've already fought tooth and nail for a property, and that was Stranger Things. I think they really pushed themselves to get Stranger Things at the event. I think that was the last one. I think they had Scream, that kind of fell through. I think they're done. Conjuring, they've had so many times. I was supposed to come to the event. That fell through. I think they're just done kind of going after properties that they can't easily get, especially Warner Brother properties. They're done with that. But yeah, I think Stranger Things was probably the last one that they pushed really hard to get. That's a very tough one. Most people are going to say Orlando because of the sheer size of our event, the scare zones, the massive, like just the park is massive, the sound stages. Um, but Hollywood definitely has better actors, better like scares. Um, they have more like it's just more interesting over there. Like when we were watching their main scare zone area in the upper lot, or I just was in awe of like them doing this performance and having like the doll maker and the characters run around and the flames and the crow. It was unlike anything I experienced at Horror Nights in Orlando last year. It was definitely a highlight, and their Last of Us was just phenomenal there, like miles better. Their Chucky was just extremely better than Orlando. So depends on who you ask. And I enjoyed their Purge show, the Waterworld show. That was amazing. Enjoyed the heck out of it. But then again, you have people here who love Nightmare Fuel and they like just Orlando. So it's very, very hard to do like which one's better. Yeah, more houses. Most people always think more is better. Yeah, I guess because it gives you more opportunities to just see something else. But if that house ain't good, or a couple of those houses or scare zones are not that great, then hmm, yeah, that is true. Conjuring has been at Six Flags. I think it's going to come back again. I know Saw is still there currently for their Scream Break event that they're doing right now. So possibly the Conjuring is going to still be at Six Flags for this year for Fright Fest. Considering a quick trip to HHN Hollywood, but do you think Knott's is worth extending a trip. Based upon my group, and it was our first time going to Knott's last year, we were blown away by Knott's. It's not, it's very different from HHN if you've done HHN at all. Very different. But yeah, it was phenomenal last year. I think they're gonna step things up even more this year. The tribute store was awesome. Scare zones were awesome. Houses were fantastic. So I'd say yeah, give it a try. Yeah, that's true. They have repeated some stuff. I mean, Orlando doesn't really repeat, and I think Hollywood is kind of stepping away from that for the most part. I think their budget is just different than Orlando's. Like Orlando just has a bigger budget when it comes to the event, and they can get a lot more money um, put behind things, so they don't have to repeat stuff. Um, yes, I do think that. See, yeah, Vanessa agrees. Knott's is definitely worth it. Yeah, they were really good, surprisingly. I just wish we had more time at Knott's Scary Farm and it wasn't so far away from where we were staying. But yeah, we did everything that we could. We still didn't even like chill out in the zones. We didn't try a bunch of the food. We didn't uh, go see any of the shows just because there was no time. So Knott's definitely gives you a lot for your money. There's so much to do. I believe, ooh, it's got to be up there. Um, just for them to probably get the permits, costuming. Are we talking building? Are we talking maintenance? It's got to be probably. Oh man, way more than probably 30, 40,000 dollars for them to do one house, like one soundstage house. Because you got to think there's a lot that goes into it. Just getting like IP rights. Sometimes Universal pays for those rights. Sometimes it's split, maybe merch deal type of thing. Um, and like I said, they're paying techs, they're paying scare actors, just people that are building the houses. Uh, so quite a lot. If I had to take a guess, it's got to be up there. Sadly, no. I think Bloody Mary is probably one of my most favorite icons ever. Um, and I don't think we'll ever see her again. Obviously, they keep hinting because she's an icon, but they'll never fully bring her back unless they just pay for the rights. But I don't think they will. Yes, the anniversary year down the line. Yes, HHN 35. I think we'll see the Pumpkin Lord one more time, and that will be it for him. And I'm gonna take any more last. Wow, yeah, wow. For probably the bigger houses, probably, yeah. Um, any last minute questions before we hop off the stream? Thank you all for tuning in. Wow, like you consistently, like you guys have just been just dropping comments, questions. Thank you all for the support. Wow, it's crazy. Thank you. Sorry if this was addressed, but do you believe HHN will start in August? Yes, I do believe it will start in August. Where's that? Where's the map? So if I had to take a guess, I'm going to say it's going to probably start the 31st. No, the 30th. Um, because it's always starts on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I think that's just going to be their way of starting the event even earlier. So more dates. So definitely, I would be a betting man. I would say August 30th. Yeah, it was. It definitely was. Um, what's interesting, like I said way earlier in the stream about them doing sort of their own take on Ghostbusters, or not Ghostbusters, Goosebumps, and doing an original take on that. They did an original take on Seven, not quite based on the movie, but it was a scare zone based upon seven deadly sins. And each stage show was like one of the sins that they had. Really good zone that was done in Hollywood in Orlando. Forgot the year. It might have been Lady Luck's year. So HHN 21. I think it was that year. But yes, they did do something on seven deadly sins. How long these years of doing this? I never uh keep rolling. Just rolling until the train falls off. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, like I said, you guys have made these live streams entertaining, or else I wouldn't probably continue them. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for the support. Definitely go check out Horror Fiends live stream. I'm sure it's live now, or you can just catch the replay, but definitely check that out. Friends of the channel, they do a really good job. They talk all about horror nights as well. So definitely check out theirs. Check out Dreamport's channel. Like I said, link will be in the description box. And of course, we will have some more videos dropping this week. Definitely one kind of cool idea we're gonna try to do with HHN. I'm just leaving it as a teaser. It's a new HHN concept video. Maybe we're gonna test out. And if it does decently good, we'll do more of them. Um, so that will be dropping this week, and we have, I believe, our Mel's. I want to say Mel's Dying. Our Mel's Drive-In review will be dropping this week as well. Yeah, that is it until we get some more rumors, some more announcements. I'll probably try to make this a regular thing every so often, especially get Dreamport on here. We were supposed to have maybe Lodge. That, I don't know. Everybody go to Lodge's channel, type and tell them to come to the stream. We don't bite over here. But yeah, I've enjoyed this, and thank you to Dreamport for hopping on and leaving us with so much knowledge and some interesting thoughts. Thank you all for popping in here in the chat. Wow, you guys are just going crazy in this chat. So thank you all, and have a good night. Peace out, everybody.